Welcome everyone to the Lofi Podcast. Today, my guest is umbrellaboy, otherwise known as Tom. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. It's great to hear an accent that's a little bit different. Up until now, it's been very American and British, and now we're hearing something a little bit, from the other side of the world. So,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So, here, man, before we get started and talking about lo-fi and so on, could you tell us a little bit about yourself outside of lo-fi? Maybe a little bit about who you are, any hobbies or interesting facts about yourself?
Yeah. So, when I'm not making lo-fi, I work at like a supermarket kind of thing. And other hobbies of mine, I do like reading and writing books. Well, writing stories more say, but I enjoy reading books. Yeah, that's about it in terms of hobbies and interesting facts.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. No, but I mean, like with writing stories and so on, what kind of sort of genre does that fall under?
Oh yeah, I enjoy a lot of medieval fantasy.
Right. Okay.
So it'll be like a lot of the Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones type of stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's really interesting because I've actually never been much of a fantasy fan myself. But it's amazing to see, I have some friends who are, and the community is crazy. There's so many people who have the shared interest. And it's I don't know what it's like with you, but do you have others that you share stories with? Or
I do have a couple friends. Yeah, that sort of, share, sort of even my own little stories. I have a mate I've been friends with since primary school. I'd always yap to him about it, throughout all of primary school and high school and all that, about my own little story.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic because myself, outside of lo-fi, reading is also another one of my hobbies. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to do so a lot with college work of recent, and even with that, even making music has been difficult to get time to do that. But whenever I get a moment, there's nothing better than just sitting down and getting into a book.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I find because Christmas is coming up. There's a lot of Christmas events. I haven't really been able to sit down and read a book for quite a minute. But yeah.
Yeah, well, to any of the listeners, do you have anything that you might recommend? I know this is a lo-fi podcast, but
so we'll just change it up a bit for a second. Yeah, Well, I do. What I'm reading now is called Throne of Glass. So I don't want to spoil too much, but it's based around an assassin kind of thing. They go from underground to working their way up to royalty, which is pretty cool.
Interesting. Yeah, assassins underground working their way up. Sounds like kind of a mystery story and alongside as well, does it?
Oh yeah, I suppose, yeah. There is, especially in the first book, there is a bit of a mystery kind of aspect to it. Because I'm only up to the second book, but there's 8 of them in total.
Okay, yeah, so there's a lot of reading there then.
Yeah, plenty of reading to go.
Fantastic, love it. Well, maybe getting back on track now with lo-fi and music instead of reading. But I know, but I could talk about that for ages as well. But here, but with music, man. So out there, you're umbrellaboy. So how did you get into music? Could you tell us a little bit about your musical journey and how it started?
Yeah, of course. The thing was, it started early 2020 in terms of wanting to make music. I was inspired by artists like artist NF. I really admired his work, and I wanted to sort of start creating my own sort of outlet, my own sort of music. And then I was trying to, because at that point I had no actual experience with music production. So I was just trying to knuckle down and learn how to do it. I started off just making simple trap beats, and then eventually towards near the end of 2020 is when I discovered lo-fi. I actually still remember the first track I listened to because I saved it to the playlist when I heard it and liked it. It was Stargazing by Mello and Mbulo. Yeah, it was really good, and that was the first proper time I heard like a instrumental, sort of like traditional kind of lo-fi track. And then I was just admired it a lot, and then eventually I sort of tapped on their profiles and listened to like their albums, and that's when I sort of got hooked on the lo-fi genre and just expanded more in it. And it occurred to me that actually I wanted to try and like attempt to create it myself. And ever since then, the rest is history. I've just been knuckling down, learning how to create lo-fi.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, like, prior to listening to NF and his music and getting into production, did you have any experience with making music? Like, did you grow up learning an instrument? Or
I wanted to, growing up, wanted to learn the acoustic guitar. It was a bit on and off with it because I found it was hard. I couldn't. I wanted to dedicate myself to it, but I kept on getting distracted by other things and all that. In year 7, we had like a music class, and like I think the assessment we had to sort of work as a band, like we were set into groups, and I played the bass, and I remember at that point I loved it a lot, and that's when I sort of thought. I think that was like the first spark in terms of wanting to have a go at making music, but. I didn't sit down and actually attempt it till later and earlier on in 2020.
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, like both the acoustic guitar and the bass guitar are great instruments, and they're actually two of the main instruments I would play outside of lo-fi. And like, I mean, I remember though, whenever I first got my first guitar, I don't know if I was 5 or 6, but it was just like a terrible half-size nylon guitar. And I remember just like not even knowing how to strum a chord, not knowing how to do anything. I would just sit there and fret just whatever came into my mind and make dreadful noises. But I think but it's always just like this little. We always have to start somewhere, and then we eventually grow into the musicians we are. So
exactly.
It's kind of. Mm-hmm. So, like, that's interesting, though. So you had the acoustic guitar and a bit of the bass as well. And so then, like, were you able to incorporate or carry across any of that skill to whenever you started producing music? Like, was there knowledge beforehand that you kind of transferred?
There wasn't, no, in terms of playing... actual like instruments, like live instruments. No, there wasn't really a lot of knowledge behind that. Because I wasn't sure how to connect like a microphone up. Not a microphone, an instrument up to like my DAW or something. So I think one of the earlier tracks I did use my own acoustic guitar, but I had this weird setup where I had like a Blue Yeti microphone, and I like had to stack it up a bunch of books because the cord was like already too stretched, so I couldn't like move it freely. So I had to try and go on the back of my computer and like untie the knot that I had on it, and then so that way when I stood up to play the guitar, the microphone was in line with like where I'm playing. Because I wasn't sure how to like connect it just straight into the DAW and all that. But I'm hoping when I start, like I want to learn like electric guitar and all that as well. So I'm hoping next time when I want to record like live instruments, it won't be as pathetic as it was with my first attempt.
Yeah, no, you're really putting like the indie and the lo-fi in those terms, taking it to its extreme.
Like, that's how we do it here.
I know it is. I mean, that's the beauty about making music ourselves. And, nowadays with the way technology is advanced, we can just make it in a room in our house, and just record anything.
It's amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, how it's evolved over the years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I remember my first recording that I made was in fact a rock song. It wasn't lo-fi. Yeah. And so I wrote these really silly lyrics when I was 14. And the song was called Hot as Ice, right? And And so it was made in sort of like hard rock in the style of AC/DC. Yeah, and the lyrics were about this kind of like this girl, and she was hot as ice, and like these lyrics were absolutely awful. But I remember sitting there using this microphone that was powered with AA batteries, I think it was. There's some weird batteries you put into them, because like it didn't even take phantom power. Some microphone my dad had for years, and I remember plugging that directly into an audio interface. I didn't even know how to set up the gain level, so things were clipping and everything. But you know, I still have that finished recording on my hard drive, and I listen to it sometimes. And you know, there's that sense of nostalgia that you have whenever you listen to it, even though it's like dreadful. It would never see the light of day. But you know, I think we kind of have a similar sense of nostalgia too when we listen to lo-fi music sometimes. It's almost like this whole genre has an aesthetic that takes us back to, you know, a time when we were younger. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I feel like, there's a lot of, so especially some tracks where that feeling is a lot more prominent, where you'll hear like a certain track and somehow it just triggers like either this childhood memory or just like an odd feeling of like, just an odd feeling of like a familiarity to it. But yeah, especially in like very minimal lo-fi tracks. Somehow I feel like that that sort of triggers a lot of childhood memories. Because at first I found that with a lot with dark ambient music. And then once I sort of recognized that feeling, I started feeling that towards like certain lo-fi tracks somehow, where it would trigger, just like little childhood memories and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I think sometimes when you have that sort of more simple ambient tracks and there's not too much going on, and you're listening to it, it sort of gives you that space to sort of sit back and, you know, because it's not so full of so many elements, it gives you enough space to think as well while you're listening to it. And I suppose that's almost how it falls into the category of study music as well and all of that.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of thinking room. So something, so where if you're not sort of studying, you're sort of left there to listen to it, it gives your brain room to sort of think back, like from childhood memories.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, I mean, in the lo-fi then that you produce, do you ever try to sort of incorporate that feeling as well in your music?
Yeah, in these recent releases, I've been trying to incorporate that sort of that feeling, of like remembering childhood memories, especially with like the latest track EP as well that I've released. That's based a lot around that sort of feeling, as well as like a feeling of like remembering childhood memories that might not even happen. I find sometimes, like when you're listening to like a certain track somehow, because the EP is more based around liminal spaces and like images kind of thing. So sometimes you'll like view an image and like sometimes it can like somehow it will trigger like a childhood memory. You remember being there, like wherever that image location is, which even though you might not have ever been in that location kind of thing. And it's sort of like that with some lo-fi tracks I've heard, where it would just trigger that weird, it's very weird feeling to explain. It's like very like, familiar, but also like kind of hauntingly like comforting kind of, because it's like, I don't know if like, have you ever heard that, like had that feeling when you listen to certain tracks?
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of, I don't know if phantom memory is the right term, but it's kind of like you're sitting there and you have that feeling of nostalgia with the track, and you're kind of wanting to go back to this sort of peaceful time, this quiet time that it might have never existed, but the art kind of creates that environment in your mind. It creates this zone that it mightn't have been real, but it feels like it's something that you lost and once was there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly, that's the sort of feeling I get from some tracks, which it's I don't know, it's very fascinating how it can do that. Just like like a lo-fi track that like initially was to study to, and now it's sort of grown into this big sort of elaborate genre where there's more than just that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like there's just a whole aesthetic that comes with lo-fi as well. Like, yeah. So, like, I mean, because what immediately comes to mind now that you mentioned that is like, I think it's not even just with lo-fi and sort of music. It's like any art form that if it resonates with us in some way, we can look at it. I mean, I suppose with you've got reading as well. And whenever you read a book, it's almost as if you have that little moment of escape and you're almost engrossed in that world that exists in that book. Or even me, like I'm thinking that there was an art exhibition in the college I was at a couple of weeks ago, and I was walking down the hall with one of my friends, and her and we were looking at all of the art, and it was almost as if like time stopped for a moment and you were just looking into the soul that the person put into that, and whatever form of art it could be. So
mm-hmm. Like, it's very
mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what your thoughts about are like on that subject, and maybe in the art you make as well. Like, is there, whenever you produce music, how do you put that soul into it as well?
It would come down to the memories it's inspired by, or even like just like a certain emotion as well. I could use that as inspiration to sort of carry out the first steps of creating the track, like the chords or something like that. And then from there I try to complement that feeling with more like I guess instruments that would help amplify that feeling more in terms of trying to express.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a craft, you know, you've got this beginning, you've got this emotion started off, and then you find the instruments that sort of help. It conveys that feeling that you were originally trying to get across in whatever art form you make. And like, I'm guessing it's somewhat similar with your stories that you write as well, maybe in the process of writing them.
I'm trying. That's like right now. I'm trying to sort of just focus purely, just sort of like on the story itself, and then I want to once I've sort of got like the scaffolding, I'll say in terms of like the story. That's when I'll try and implement. More trying to express emotion, like emotions of my own within the characters. Eventually, like that will then determine their personality.
Right. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, sorry, you were going to say something there. Sorry, I cut you off.
no, it's all good. But I was just going to say it'll be sort of like that with the tracks as well. Sometimes I'll just be working on just like a random, like a track. Maybe I'm just working on like a drum, and then eventually, that's when then I'll decide to try and express an emotion in it that will give the track its own character as well.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Like, it truly shows that there's a lot more that goes behind the music that we make than really the consumer will ever see. Like, we can listen to a track, but there's always so much more that goes into that you know, that means so much more to the artist than actually the people who are on the receiving end of it. Yeah. So, and so I'm thinking then, like, because some of the, or not even some, a good proportion of the listeners of the Lofi Podcast, from what I understand, are like folk just getting into producing lo-fi, and they're kind of just getting into music production. And so, like, someone like you who's been producing for a few years now, is there any sort of what's the term, kind of words of wisdom that you could share with them in how to get this feeling across in the music that they make?
I feel like being open to using different sounds that maybe you wouldn't usually use. Especially, yeah, that's something I've myself have been doing lately, and somehow it's helped a lot more in terms of trying to express yourself, because you're sort of using, I guess you're not sort of limiting yourself to anything. You're sort of being open to anything that you feel like could express it. Like, I mean, I'll find like ads on Instagram that'll pop up with like VSTs, and sometimes it will like, I'll hear the sound and think, oh, I could I guess like stuff for like serum, something like synthesizers and all that. You'll hear a lot of those sounds, or even like a VST for contact or something, like a free thing. But in terms of mixing, that's something I'm still sort of learning as well in terms of mixing.
Yeah. No, but I suppose like even whenever we've been making music for a couple of years, we're still always learning, and none of us like know everything about what there is to make music. And so I think it's like we can always share with each other our different experiences, and that also helps us grow into better artists, even if we've just started or we've been making music for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so then, I don't know, I think one thing that's really great about the lo-fi community as well is the whole sense of collaboration, and how we're always working together and making tracks and sharing ideas. And so I don't know, maybe you have some thoughts behind that as well for people who are starting off in lo-fi, and how that help them grow as a producer as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That was something. With collabing with other artists, that was something I wish I had done earlier on. I think it definitely helps in terms of maybe you don't have access all the tools to play like an electric guitar, so you could try and like connect with someone that can do so. And I wish I had done that earlier, because I guess I wasn't confident enough to feel like I could. Like in terms of even interacting, sometimes I have moments where I'm just completely socially awkward. My brain will just turn off, and I'll just start mumbling gibberish. but like no, but I just wish, just putting yourself out there, just like just trying new changes in terms, getting comfortable with them. I feel like can help. They're little, but they add over time. Like. Yeah, they contribute well to like in terms of making music. Yeah,
absolutely. Because like I remember the first time we connected, I think it was through an album that Kazaitri made. I think we were both collaborators on that. And
I do remember that.
Yeah, I know. And then I reached out, and then man, I have to say, like we have some tracks made that haven't been released yet. Hopefully, we'll get some labels for that soon. But
yeah.
In like the learning, and like it's not directly learning as in asking you how you do something, but even just listening to the parts that you added to the tracks, and because like listening to how you made the percussion in some of them, even just observing, it's helped me learn so much about that side of music production. Because like I mean, up until then, I wasn't confident at all in making drums, making sort of beats. But like listening to what you made, you helped me a lot, and I learned a lot from the tracks we've made. So
thank you, man.
No, I mean it's only the truth. Yeah.
Well, making the tracks we've made, because it definitely helped me learn like how to sort of like, because you would have the instruments there ready, so it would be perfect for me. That's when I'll try and like add around like the ambience, and it helped me learn more on how to properly add pads like effectively to complement just the instruments without like washing them down or anything like that. But yeah,
I know. And then through that, I think that's part of the beauty of collaboration, because we're not like directly teaching each other and saying you must do this and do that, but it's through the experimenting that we all learn new skills.
Yeah, exactly. So you almost, you're like teaching yourself in a way.
Yeah, I know. It reminds me of the last episode of the podcast whenever I was chatting to my guest Alcinous. And he was saying that, sometimes we need to be a bit more childlike when it comes to music production and just click things and add sounds and, have fun. And, through that, we can learn just as much.
Exactly.
Yeah. One thing you mentioned there when talking about sort of new producers and was getting over the fear of putting their tracks out there. Do you have any sort of help on how people could get over this fear? And because sometimes we can make tracks and think that, this is terrible and never release anything. But, it's always a journey and we have to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose, I think maybe, I think what I did was I focused like a lot of attention on one singular track. Because I had the goal that by the time I'm sort of content with this, I guess, demo, I wanted to try and collaborate with someone. So I sort of focused all of my attention on just one singular project, just one song. And if I feel like I was not liking what I was making, because I'll just think maybe I've just heard it too many times, so that's when I'll like stop and like walk away. Come back to it maybe at night or something like that, but and eventually I just did it. Like I ended up just finding an artist. The first collab I did was with Forever Dreaming, and I liked his work, and I liked how his guitar sounded. And eventually I just decided to just send over a quick demo of what I've been working on. I can't remember. I don't think like the things I added was even done. Because eventually I was content with the track with like the chords and the drums, but anytime I tried to add anything else like pads, it just wasn't working, and eventually it would end up killing the track, and I just didn't like how it sounded. So I just removed that and kept the things I liked, and then sent that as the demo over to him. And then from then he got back to me, and that's when we sort of bring that track to life. Okay, so I feel like don't be afraid to just even send like the most little, like even if it's just a guitar riff or like a piano chords. Just like send what you know you're confident within the track to an artist, and then it gets easy over time once you've collabed with someone already. But yeah,
no, I think those are really good words of wisdom, because like I remember the first collaboration I ever made. It unfortunately completely fell apart. Like we had a track. No. I know. So we were working, we were sending stems back and forward, and then eventually the track was finished, and then all of a sudden radio silence. No reply from the other artist, nothing at all. And so I remember, because I had only been started making lo-fi for about 4 months at that time, maybe. And man, it was so disappointing. But then I think it's also, if something like that happens, to not let it get you down. And just, like you said, if you have a little idea, send it to someone else. And, we can help each other and encourage each other as well to get that music out there. And hopefully that music will then help make someone's day even just a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's happened to me as well a couple of times in terms of radio silence. Yeah, it's the worst.
I know, it's really unfortunate, but it just happens sometimes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So I think that maybe the next step of, after maybe getting over that fear of putting your music out there, for a lot of artists starting off, is like maybe finding some labels and submitting your tracks to them. So like, how did you start off doing that in your musical journey?
I started the first label I released was with Purity label. It was a very simple track as well. It was just like a repeating melody that I just added layers to it throughout the track. And then that's all it really was. It wasn't anything complex or anything like a masterpiece. It was a very simple track, and eventually, I wanted to put myself out there more. So I tried to find a label. At the time I found Purity, and I sent a few tracks to them initially, and they sometimes like labels they'll pick out like a few tracks. They'll say, look, we like these tracks, but we feel like these other ones don't really suit the vibe we're going for at this time, kind of thing. That's another thing as well. Labels are also, at least the labels I've released with, they're not discouraging. Say if you get declined, they're not discouraging. They do sometimes point out they do like the track, but it's just not the type of feeling they're going for at that time. Like they won't like slap you in the face or anything if they don't like your track or anything. They'll just tell it. They'll just be honest with you. And like most of the time, depending how popular the label is, I feel like a lot of labels, if the popular ones might not have as much time on their hands to give a full, elaborate description about why they have decided not to release your track, but most they'll always be nice. They will never beat you up or anything like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree. Because actually, that reminds me, because I have one track released with Purity as well, and it's actually a very simple track. Once again, I made with Nessun, and so I think as you say, the label will have its own vibe. Like, for example, maybe Purity would prefer this more simple sort of melody and chill. Or there's the album I've released with Cold Soda, but it's more upbeat, more sort of folk hop. And so the label will have its own tastes. But if the track you sent's not off its taste, I've never been sent back with a message we absolutely hate this. This is the worst track I've heard in my life. It's always a genuine answer. This track's good, and I like the track, but unfortunately, it's just not the vibe that we're going for. And so often, as a young lo-fi producer, whenever we're starting off, we might receive I don't know what's the way to say, but the feedback we receive at the beginning can sort of make or break us as an artist. Sometimes if we get a harsh response, it could just completely discourage us from making more music. So
I feel like trying to sort of look past the criticism you might receive. I feel like it's that can really make or break your motivation to keep going, I feel like. I feel like another way, if you want to release with labels, it's good. It's worth putting a little bit of time to see what type of lo-fi they focus on, kind of thing. So some labels will like more the sleepy side of lo-fi. Other labels would prefer the more folk hop, the more upbeat style. And then some labels, especially Dream Hop now, they're focusing a lot more specifics as well. So I feel like putting a little bit of time to see what a label what they're sort of looking for at the time, because sometimes it can change. They might in the past have released more upbeat, and then now at present they might be focusing more on the sleepy side. So I feel like putting a bit of time to look into that label you might have got your eyes on, it's definitely worth sort of almost studying them in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that can also help us grow as artists too, and try to sort of experiment with different styles of lo-fi. Because we see a label we might want to release with them, and so in order to do that, we might have to sort of experiment with a new style we've never worked with before. And in doing that, it's also helping us to grow to be a better musician, a better producer, and it's for the benefit of both of us.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what have sort of helping me, because now I feel like I'm gonna try to give more the sleepy lo-fi side a more primary focus, because I'm still trying to find, I guess, that Umbrella Boy sound kind of thing. but I feel like releasing with labels is definitely, like you said, it's definitely given me opportunities to experiment with different kinds of lo-fi. Because for a while I was focusing a lot more on ambient kind of sounding, you'll hear a lot like Colt and Amy's. I think a lot of I've been wanting to make their style, but then eventually I wanted to release with a label that focused on the more sleepy music. So I made that, and I just I found I could express a lot more easy on like the more minimal style of lo-fi.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And like, I suppose, as well as, you know, trying to express yourself through the style of lo-fi and trying to get those emotions through that aesthetic as well, there's also like the visual side of it as well. Because, you know, you've got album art and Spotify, you've got Spotify Canvas as well and things like that. And so, I don't know, like, what are your thoughts about sort of trying to tie in sort of a visual side to your music as well? So it's not just what you listen to, but sort of what comes up on your screen as well.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very important like aspect in terms of like the art behind your music. Like, I feel like it helps, especially with someone who hasn't like listened to your track yet. It helps to have like a visual, even if it's just like a simple like stock video of like rain falling on the ceiling, or maybe it's like a nice sunny, like it's like a stock video of like or even like a video recorded yourself as well, like a nice sunny valley even. I feel like it helps set the stage of what the track's mood is, and it's almost like a way of expressing to the listener what the song means to you, the one to like again, at least to the one who's made it. Like, it sort of expresses what it means, what the track means to you. And it's just like another. So it's like music is like a language. It's like the visual side is like another sort of language that helps you tell it. Like it helps. Yeah, it sets the mood for it.
No, I really love what you said there. Just that one phrase, you know, music as a language. Like, that's such a beautiful idea that, you know, maybe I've never really thought of that. But yeah, we're using it as a way to sort of, because language is used to try to express to others what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and so on. And like, we have not just these words, but we can express it through music and the art as well. And that's a really deep idea that you've just shared there. Like, I know, because I'm thinking, talking about the art in music, because I like immediately comes to mind an album that I released, and like the art behind it has a lot of meaning to me as a person who made it. Like, I didn't paint the art. It was a friend of mine made the art, but like, it's that shared meaning from this side that like the listener, the person who listens to the music online won't really truly understand. But for us as the artist, we're trying to share that and convey it, and maybe some people will get it, other people won't, but that's just all part of the game, or so, if you want to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, like, maybe like if we're more conscious of the album art and sort of whenever before we listen to the track, that can give us a whole new experience too as well whenever we listen to the music, and sort of opens a whole new world of emotion that we can get from it.
Yeah, exactly. It helps express what the emotion is in the track. And it's like setting the stage, like setting the lights on, the visual effects, and then having the band playing, as well as I feel like it's worth putting some time to focus on as well after you've made your track. It's something I've been wanting to do as well now, because So it sort of just popped into my mind over like a few months about why, and I was sort of just wanting to focus more on the visuals.
Yeah, no, that's great. Because like, I don't know, because whenever I started making music and releasing my lo-fi out in the world, I really didn't think too much about the art and the album art beside it. But as time goes on, it's something that I spend a little more, I don't know what the term is, but intention in trying to choose what goes alongside with the music. Because it really gives a sense of feeling that can go along with the track. Because you might have a track that's slow and emotional, and if you have sad album art with it, something that's sort of dark, maybe the person who listens to it realizes that you're trying to convey a sadness. Or the track could still be the same track that's slow and thoughtful, but instead of sad album art, if it's something that's more contemplative, like, you know, nature, and then they realize that, well, the slowness and the thoughtfulness in this track is not because of the sad emotion you're trying to convey, but it's more of the deep, thoughtful emotions that you're trying to bring across. So it's really, really deep what you just said.
Yeah.
And so Tom, before we wrap up this episode, is there any sort of final words that you'd like to share with the lo-fi community, or any words of wisdom that you think that should be more talked about in this area?
Yeah, I feel like just don't be discouraged by by anything, but in terms of trying to put yourself out there. I feel like it's very, like, it pays off a lot once you've sort of overcome that. Like, it's something I wish I had it done earlier on in, like, my lo-fi journey. Just, yeah, because it's just, yeah, for me it's more, yeah, interactions. I feel like sometimes I might be socially awkward, so that might cause a bit of anxiety. It made me hesitant to want to connect with other artists when I first tried. But eventually, I just, you just push yourself, and you just, focus on, like, a track, and just or you're always, like, just forcing yourself to do it, especially if you're wanting to do it, and if, like, maybe anxiety is holding you back. I feel like it's definitely just sort of just sending that message to the artist and just not thinking about it, sending it and just pressing enter, and just putting yourself out there. I feel like it pays off. It's very, and you wish you want to do it. You wish you would have done it earlier, which is me.
Yeah, no, that's great. So yeah, thank you so much though. And hopefully, listening to this episode, some budding lo-fi artists will go out there. They'll release their tracks to the world, and we'll have another name that's producing great music that just makes people's days that little bit better.
Exactly. Thank you for having me, man.
No worries. Thank you so much for being so willing to be on. This was a great conversation. Like, you dropped so many little gems there. Like, it was fantastic. So I can't thank you enough.
Oh, thank you. No, I appreciate it being on here. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, here, man, all the best, and hopefully talk to you soon.
Yeah, all the best, man. Take it easy.
Yep. Right. See ya.
See ya.